Yo, what is good YouTube? My name is The Deli and welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another Destiny 2 video and we're going to be going over my solar Warlock build for this new season. Let's get into it. In this background gameplay, we are in the legendary Lightfall campaign mission Breakneck, which sets us 15 light levels below the recommended power level. So I'm at a constant disadvantage here and I'm just mowing through these ads like it's nothing. I have constant restoration ×2 and radiant proc. This is a really strong build for ad clear, and I'm going to show you two versions of how I run it. One for ad clear and one for boss DPS. So let's take a look at the first version of the build. This is more focused on ad clear, but both builds are going to be taking advantage of the exotic boots, the Rain of Fire. The Rain of Fire's armor perk is Soaring Fusilier. Air dodge reloads all of your weapons and improves the airborne effectiveness of fusion rifles and linear fusion rifles. Final blows with these weapons make you radiant. So since we're taking advantage of the Rain of Fire, I'm using a double fusion rifle here. I'm going to be using a Merciless for chunky majors or champions, and then my Riptide to stun champions, and also I can proc radiant using both these weapons. My primary weapon of choice is going to be the heavy machine gun Unwavering Duty. You could use any solar heavy machine gun here. I'm just using Unwavering Duty since I have Killing Tally. Killing Tally gives me weapon damage boost until I have to reload or stow my weapon. But since we're using Rain of Fire, when I Icarus stash, it's going to reload all my weapons and it overrides Killing Tally. So I'll constantly have Killing Tally ×3 procced at all times with Radiant on top of it. Alright, now let's take a look at the super abilities, aspects, and fragments. Our super of choice is going to be Well of Radiance. This super is just way too busted not to use. For our abilities, our class ability is going to be Healing Rift. For the class ability and the jump, it's just personal preference. All of these are solid options. I just really like Healing Rift. For the melee, I like to use Celestial Fire since it's a little more ranged than the Incinerator snap, but again, this is just your choice here. Now, for the grenade, we're going to want to use the Healing Nade. The Healing Grenade is going to pair very well with our first aspect, Touch of Flame. So when you normally throw the Healing Nade, it gives you just restoration. But with Touch of Flame, it enhances the grenade and gives you restoration ×2, which is even more aggressive healing. Our second aspect of choice is Icarus Dash. This is what allows us to bypass reloading via the Rain of Fire exotic boots. So when we use our Icarus Dash, it's going to reload all of our weapons. Alright, so taking a look at our fragments, we're going to be using Ember of Empyrean. Solar weapon, our ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant. This is a -10 to resilience, but we are going to be using an armor mod that kind of works around that. This is a very important fragment to our build. The combo is going to go something like this. We're going to get a kill using one of our fusion rifles, proccing radiant. Then we're going to quickly throw a healing grenade at our feet, proccing restoration ×2. And then we switch to our solar heavy machine gun and just start killing ads. It's going to constantly refresh the timers for restoration ×2 and radiant. It's very strong for ad clear, and we're going to have aggressive healing on top of a nice damage buff. Our second fragment of choice is going to be Ember of Char. Your solar ignition spreads scorch to affected targets. There's a nice +10 to discipline, which helps, getting our healing nade back faster. Our third fragment of choice is going to be Ember of Eruption. Your solar ignitions have an increased area of effect. And our final fragment is Ember of Combustion. Final blows with a solar super causes targets to ignite and creates a fire spread. So when we pop our Well of Radiance and we get a kill using our machine gun or our Merciless, it's going to count as a solar super final blow, which causes targets to ignite. So you can see the combo here. We cause an ignition, it's going to spread scorch, and it's also going to have an increased area of effect. Very strong. Taking a quick look at our armor mods. On our helmet, we're going to be using one Harmonic Siphon, so our rapid solar weapon final blows create an orb of power. We're going to be using one heavy ammo finder and one Font of Wisdom. When we do pick up an orb of power, Font of Wisdom is going to grant us a +30 to our intellect stat, so we're going to be sitting at 53 instead of 23. On our gauntlets, we're going to be using one Focusing Strike, so when we cause damage with our melee, we get some class ability energy back. We're going to be using one Impact Induction, so when we cause damage with our melee, it reduces our grenade cooldown. And then one Font of Vigor. This is also a +30 to strength when we have armor charge, which is going to max out our strength stat. On our chest piece, These two mods are preference. I always like concussive dampener since there's a lot of AoE damage. You could sub this out for something you're running. If it has solar threat, void threat, arc threat, just swap it out for that. Right here, this is where it's important. I'm going to be using a font of endurance. This is going to max out our resilience when we have armor charge. On our exotic boots, we have double solar weapon surge to get a nice buff to our solar weapons, and 1 solar scavenger, so we pick up more ammo per brick. So on our Warlock bond, we're going to be running 2 time dilation, which make our armor charge last longer, so we'll have that solar surge up longer and our stat boost up longer as well. And then 1 font of restoration. This is going to max out our recovery stat. Here's an overview of the first version of the build, so you can see the mods, then my weapons. Now let's jump into the DPS version of the build. Okay, so the DPS version of the build is just a little different. We're going to switch our Merciless for a Cartesian coordinate, and we're going to swap our Riptide for an Izanagi's Burden. So we're going to be able to proc Radiant via our Cartesian coordinate. We're still going to have a really good primary weapon in a solar heavy machine gun. And then our boss damaging weapon is going to be the Izanagi's Burden. So when you consume your ammo and get that hone edge ×4, and then you air dodge, it'll put your magazine back to 4, but you'll still have the hone edge ×4. This is really good. So when you pop that shot, you can instantly just reload for the next 1 shot, air dodge again, hit that shot, and you can see it's a really strong combo. We did swap our mods a little bit. We do have 1 kinetic weapon surge here instead, just so we can get a little boost to our Izanagi as well. Now here's a quick overview of the DPS version of the build. All of the fragments, aspects, and stuff are the same as the previous version. I just swapped out the kinetic weapon surge here, and then the weapons. Go ahead and try this build out and let me know how you like it down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will have the dim links to both versions of this build down in the description. They will also be posted in my Discord, which will be linked in the description as well. I want to thank you all again for the support, and more build videos coming very soon. Thanks again, and peace.